Welcome, guys, to another live episode. So today's episode is going to be a little interesting. So we're going to be talking about something which is very interesting. And in the sense as to what makes it interesting is this. So recently, I ran into this is an acquaintance of mine, and we had an interaction together. So just to kind of give you guys a little backstory, because if if you're currently right now in a position in which you are currently, you're worried about what other people think about you. You're either concerned, you're like, hey, I don't know what to do in my life. I am, I can't take action because I'm concerned about how people are going to perceive me. I'm concerned about being judged. I'm concerned about the fact in which, I'm not going to be able to move because it could be a number of reasons. But I want to tell you guys a story. So this is actually something happened. So just this very recently, I was talking to the acquaintance of mine, and she's currently working on a project which is, it's not an easy project to accomplish. And based off of, her, what she has to struggle to get there. That's something in which a lot of people overall, for the most part, I like to say that they struggle with, right? So she was telling me about it, and I've pretty much been through the same road that she went through, right? So what I told her was like, hey, I was like, I didn't understand that she had a lot going on at the time, but I was like, hey, why don't you just knock it out and just kind of get it done quickly and get done? Because the industry that you're currently going to be getting into is an industry that's going to reward you very handsomely, especially once you are, if you can beat the market, because speed is everything. So she kind of took that to heart, and a few days later, she reaches out to me and she goes, um, it made me feel bad what you telling me that I should, I need to rush it out, and I'm currently going through a lot of things right now in my life and all that. And I was like, fair, honestly, because she said reached out to me a few days later, and I was like, fair, very honest with you, that's genuinely, I didn't know you were going through to anything. I apologize at the time, but I was like, from my standpoint, in my mind, I didn't communicate with it, but in my standpoint, I felt like I was like, hey, giving solid advice. But we live in a day and age now where basically advice could be construed as, some people taking it in a sense as to, emotionally, you're taking it about an emotional attack, when necessarily it's not. You're just basically saying, hey, this is what I think you should do, if you want to or not. It's just, this is what I did, this is what I recommend, right? So in a sense, in a state in which we're getting kind of in a sensitive world now, where even recommendations for the most part are becoming something that you can't even be doing. You can't even be giving recommendations, because giving recommendations is something in which, you might even get yourself at a point in which someone feels like they're personally attacked. Now, I kind of was like doing some research into this, and I'm like, okay, so what makes it? Because some people, you probably listen to this and you're like, you know what? I probably had an interaction with someone where I told them, I think they should do this. I never meant anything personal about it, but then they took a personal offense to it. And I started to understand. I'm like, okay, what is going on? Why? That could be several factors. There could be a factor in which someone might be going through a personal, something personal in life. There could be a factor which someone is currently, maybe they're struggling with something. That could be a factor which somebody's like, I want to do better with myself. I want to do something, but I don't like people, people's pressure on me. So this is probably, if you're in that situation, if you're someone like that in which, other people's opinion of you is something that you take personal, is something in which that affect you in some way, shape, or form. And I understand. So one thing, I started looking up on Twitter, and I found this tweet which is very interesting. And the tweet basically, let's kind of zoom in here. So it said, it made me realize I'm not alone with my anxiety. I struggle with it every day, and I'm constantly worried about what other people think of me, and that I'm not good enough, but I just can't help but feel like I'm falling into an endless hole I can't get out of. So this is a tweet where someone was basically expressing, in his personal opinion, or her personal opinion, I can't remember who it is, but in their personal opinion, they're basically expressing that, they have this element of social anxiety. And the reality, and here's the reality of things, is there is a huge percentage of people, I believe it's about 40 or 50 something percent of people actually suffer from social anxiety, and there's a lot of people that go from a point in which they are, lack of a better word, they almost inhibited. It's almost like an inhibitance of, like, what, I want to go do ABC, I want to go do DEF, but there's this thing that's stopping it, because they get in their head and they're like, this person's opinion of me, what if this person might say, oh, maybe someone says something to you that's taken out of context. But in this reality is, what are you going to do about it? When this in this sense is like, what is there for you to do about it, right? So this is where it kind of got me into a point in which I was kind of listening to this. This is a commentary by Gary V, And Gary Vee basically gets into something which I want to go ahead and share with you guys here. And he kind of gives this concept that someone asked him the same thing, and it was like, what do you think I should do about this? And I want you guys to dive into this, and let's see. This is what Gary's
The reality is, it's just all in your mind. This is a very interesting point of view that might really help. At the end of the day, the thing I think that makes me not scared is I know that all of them don't care. Let me explain what I mean by that. At the end of the day, everybody else is worried about their own life. So if you stumble, if you stink, yeah, they may leave a comment here and there, but deep down, they don't care. But knowing they don't care is actually liberating for you to do. You understand? No, it's not that serious to everybody else. Thus, it should be easy for you to do because their judgment shouldn't matter to you because you have to realize it doesn't matter to them.
And you just need.
So what he's saying is, and which is interesting. And what he says is their judgment. They don't care about you. And that's the genuine fact that you people need to come to realize and come to understand is genuinely honest with you. Most people don't care. It's not that they don't care because they're bad. They don't care because it's not something that they're thinking of. It's not something that they're like, oh my God, what is Emmanuel going on? What's going on in Emmanuel's life today? Because I'll be honest with you, is so growing up, I had to pretty much realize in the sense as to when I had friends, I had friend group, I had people that were around me, I had people in which, I would, interact with, I had people which I thought genuinely were, out had my best interest at heart. So I pretty much every action I took from the action and the basis points of like, you know what, I want to do something for them. I want to make sure that, whatever I'm doing, I keep in mind as to how is it going to affect this person, how it's going to affect that person. What ended up happening was I ended up losing myself in the sense as to now you get into a point in which other people's opinion, other people's validation of you matters, but in reality, those people aren't thinking of you. I want you to think about it in a situation of this. Is I know it's gonna sound bad, but think about it. Someone got offended by me basically recommending that they get something done. And I didn't even know that they were like, in that position. But mind you, I had already gone about my life because I never thought that was what, this person must be perceiving. But I want you to think about it from perspective. It was not on my mind, right? But this person spent the next 2 or 3 days thinking about it. So I want you to think about it from perspective. You might be thinking, you know what? I don't want to post about my business on social media to my friends and family because if I post about my business, if I post about my business and what I want to do to my friends and family, they're going to judge me. They're going to tell me I'm not this. They're going to tell me I'm not that. But in reality, they're not thinking about you. Okay. And here's another fact is this is to I want you to look at it from the frame of what would happen in the next, let's say 40, 50 years from now, you get older, right? Or you pass away or something like that, right? These people that so strongly are thinking about you, that you think are strongly thinking about you, and you're worried about how they're going to perceive you. I want you to ask yourself this one simple question. One simple question. Will they even make it to your funeral? More than likely they won't. Or they'll make up some excuse of like, oh, I had to drop my kids off here. I had to go to the pool. I had to do this, my rent, my bills. I had to go to work. They'll make up excuses. They won't even be there. And even if they are, they're gonna be there. There's gonna be music, and then everyone's gonna go and then they're gonna go eat lunch and do whatever it is that they want to do. I want you to think about it from a perspective of I was thinking about someone famous, Queen of England, right? I want you to think about it from the Queen of England, all right? Someone else has already used this analogy, so from Alex Mosley here, and I'm going to play a video that he talks about this. But think about it from the Queen of England, right? The Queen of England, what it's been what almost a year now since she passed away. May she rest in peace. I want you to think about it from that perspective. Up until I brought up the Queen of England, when was the last time you actually thought about it? When was the last time that you actually thought about the Queen of England? Think about it. When was the last time that you actually sat back and said, you know what? I am thinking right now about the Queen of England. More than likely zero. More than likely that's not something that pops up in your head because it's not genuinely something that you think of because life happens. Life happens. You move on. Things happen. You proceed with life as life progresses. That's just the give they get. That's just the way life is. Things are gonna happen and people are gonna forget about you. They're gonna forget about you and they're gonna move on. So if you live your life right now, you only have one. I'm gonna say this, you only have one. If you live your life right now, obsessing, obsessing about what other people think about you, you're obsessing about other people's perception of you, obsessing about how people are gonna perceive you, obsessing, knowing that the fact is the one, they're probably not even thinking about you. They don't care. And if you were to pass away tomorrow, they won't even be there. So you're living your life in this. Think about your life as a circle. Think about your life as a circle. You're literally drawing a circle around people that really genuinely don't even want to be in the circle. You're journally drawing a circle around people that don't even want to be in a circle. They don't want to be in the environment. They don't even want to be in a position, in a place of mind where they don't even care. I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds terrible. I know it sounds like you're just like, geez, man, you're making this sound really, really horrendous. But I'm just telling you from the basis point as to we're all human and we have all individual lives. You cannot live your life in a position in which you're so worried, so concerned about what other people think about you. Because no one is thinking about you. And this is the Queen of England story that I was talking about. And Alex pretty much dives into the Queen of England story. And I want you guys to take a listen to the story here because I think this is something that most people, for the most part, they never take into account. It's something for the most part that most people never think about. Most people never even worried about it. But
We
take a
assume that
listen to
everyone's
this.
going to cry when we die, but most of us won't even be remembered for 6 months. No one's thinking about you. The Queen of England died 8 or 9 months ago now. She amassed more wealth than 99.99% of the population. She was a monarch for 70 years, which has to be close to a record. She did it as a female, which is even more amazing. And whoever's listening to this probably hasn't thought about the Queen of England. We have all this irrational figure swings, doing the things that we want to do. We play these videotapes in our minds of these future scenarios where people who aren't thinking about us are saying things that they're not even thinking because they don't care about you and they think about themselves. We assume that everyone's going to cry
And
when we
that's the
die, but
truth.
most of us won't even
No,
be remembered for 6 months. No one's
no one is gonna care. No one is gonna remember you. No one is gonna. I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds weird. I know it's this, but you have to keep in mind that you're obsessing about things that genuinely do not matter. Okay. Now that's just another thing. Is and another concept that I kind of want to bring into mind is this is I want you to think about it from a perspective of this, which is very interesting. And this is an interesting perspective to think of. I want you to think about the perspective of you also at this point in time have nothing to lose. It all depends on whatever position you're in. So I was talking to one of a very, very good friend of mine. We are having an interaction and I kind of thought about it. And money was something that we were kind of talking about. We're like, okay, you amassed because he's somebody that was a big saver. And he was a big, big, big saver. And and the reason why is like he was such a big saver that this dude for the entirety of the time that we pretty much hung out together, was eating what is this stuff called again? Oh my god, it's like canned tuna. Oh, PB and J's, peanut butter and jelly. He was eating peanut butter and jelly, and then whenever he's home, he would eat tuna. But the dude probably had almost a quarter million. He had this big savings, and I was very, very fascinated by that. And I was like, so what are you saving for? It's like, oh no, I don't know. I just feel like I have to. And I'm like, I'm absolutely 100% agree with the fact that you need savings. Definitely agree you should save, but also not at the expense of eating PB and J's. If PB and J's is peanut butter and jelly, okay, I want you guys to keep that in mind. So this dude was basically eating peanut butter and jelly. All right, so and we're talking about this, and we're talking about it from a standpoint of money. We're talking about it from a standpoint of finances. And my whole perspective of it was like, I'm like, when my father passed away, and I always like to say this, when he passed away, he left a decent sum of money behind. Because here's the thing: is this we all never think about the fact that we are born into this world with nothing, and we'll leave this world with nothing. That's the way life works, right? We're born into this world with nothing, and we'll leave this world with nothing. That's the truth. It's sad, but that's the truth, right? That's how life works, and that's how life pretty much is going to work. There's nothing we can do, say, or change about it. It's the fact that we don't have the physical ability to take it anything with us. Now, you're probably thinking about it since and the reason why I want to say this frame of mind is this is I just say for in mind is to you have to maximize the life that you have right now, not even just based off of money, but you have to make sure that the life you're living at this current time is a life filled with purpose. And if you're in a position which you're broke and you don't want to make, because I personally believe that you need to, at a point, amass money. Money is required to be able to make your goals and visions a reality. I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. Her son he plays the trumpet, and I was like, what do you want to do? He's 17, I think 16, 17. He's about to be 18, so he's going to go to college. So I'm like, when you go to college, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, what does that mean? He's like, well, I don't necessarily know what I want to do when I graduate in high school and I go to college. And I was like, okay. So he's like, do you want to play the trumpet? He's like, yeah, it's something I want to do. And I'm like, what is the average income you can make? He's like, and then he's like, I don't know. So I'm like, okay, now what are the odds of you making money? He's like, well, not sure. So I'm like, so you telling me that you want to sleep and just stay in your mom's basement? Is that what you want to do and be that guy at 40 that's in your mom's basement? He's like, no. I was like, but I don't know. I don't want to do anything that doesn't make me happy. And I just looked at him from a perspective. I'm like, here's the reality of happiness. Happiness is not something that is happiness is people believe that you have to enjoy what you do. because everyone always says the word financial freedom. There's so many people that always go, I want financial freedom. I want to be financially free. I want freedom. I want financial freedom. I want freedom, freedom, freedom. And I'm like, freedom and sacrifice all go together. Freedom and sacrifice cannot be separated. If you want financial freedom, then you have to be willing to do with the sacrifice of stress. There's no such thing as financial freedom without sacrifices. There has to be something. You can't give up something for nothing. You can't say, America is the freest country because there are people that are willing to lay down their lives, sacrifice their lives to defend it. Right? That's the same concept. You think about it in this. That I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it from a perspective as to you have nothing to lose right now. If you're in a position in which you're broke, you're in a position in which right now you're not taking action. First, we cover the fact that the first we covered is you basically people keep on really thinking about you. You think they care about you, they're not really thinking about you. Even if they think about you, so what? So what? If you chase your dreams and visions and they don't like it, so what? So what? If something happens, so what? That's the frame of mind I say. It's like people are not gonna like this post. So what? They're gonna come up. So what? So what? They're entitled to their own opinions. I'm not gonna come in here and be like, everybody's most like me. I don't even believe that everybody should like me because if everybody likes me, I believe that's gonna be a boring life. Because to me, that's like you living in a position in which your life is genuinely, I'm gonna say it again, your life is genuinely boring if everybody around you likes you because you live in a genuinely boring life. I'm gonna say it again, you live in a boring life. Imagine if you play a video game and in every level of the video game, you had the cheat code to it. Imagine every level of the video game, you had the cheat code to the game, which means you're playing the game, you know the cheat code for level one, level two, level three, level four, level five, and you don't have to invest any knowledge or expertise to learn and actually perfect how this video game works. I want to tell you something straight up. Facts that you are not going to enjoy that game, and that game is probably going to be the most boring game, even if it had the potential to be interesting. And the reason why it's going to be the most boring game is because you did not invest your time and your resources and your mind to actually perfect in the game. And that's what it feels like when you're playing, or you're basically living life on easy mode. And that's the reason why living life on easy mode is probably the worst thing that you can ever do and worst thing that can ever happen. And that's the reason why you need to take action. That's the reason why you need to understand that people are going to doubt you. People are going to say things about you. But regardless of all that, you have to constantly keep moving. You have to constantly keep doing what you have to do because that is what life is. That is genuinely what life is. You cannot be in a position in which you're limited and hindering yourself just based off the fact that you're worried and concerned about what people think about you. And the reality, I mean, the last point here is this, as we wrap up, is you have nothing to lose. And to bring this in here, I want to basically bring it in and share this message here from Alex. And you guys know, like I said, I really pretty much rep his content. Go check him out, acquisition.com. But he mentioned something which is very interesting.
If you're day one, you never get this back, but you get to be underestimated. No one will see you coming. If you have nothing going for you, you have nothing to lose. And so it means that you have endless shots on goal. And so you should be the most prone to taking action because there's nothing holding you back. What do you have? Nothing. It's from your mom who say that you're not going to win. And you say, you're right, mom. And then you keep doing it anyways.
Yeah.
If you're day one, you never get this back, but you get to be underestimated.
And what he's
no one will
saying
see you coming. If you have nothing,
you have nothing to lose. You genuinely have nothing to lose in the point in which you're being limited by people telling you like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do. That's their opinion of you. Like the person who's like, oh, you told me that I need to knock it out, and then I'm going through stuff right now. You don't know what's going on in my life. Very honestly, you could be like, so what, Emmanuel? So what? You tell me to knock it out. I'm still gonna do my. That's the perception, the mindset that you have to come into. You have to have the mindset of a winner. You have the mindset of somebody who keeps grinding. You have to have the mindset of someone who is doing what it takes, regardless of whatever the sacrifices might be. You have to be somebody who basically shows up. And the reason is this is I'm dropping content, constantly showing up and making sure you guys are getting the value that you pretty much most deserve. Because at the end of the day, I value each and every one of you. And just based on the fact that I value each and every one of you, I'm like, you know what? I am going to keep dropping the content so everyone here gets the most value possible. Because the reality is this is you can achieve your dreams or as long as you pretty much keep it in the back of your mind as to this is my dreams. It's up to me to make it a reality. Nobody else is going to come and make my dreams a reality. Nobody else is going to come ahead and come ahead and push things for me. Nobody else is going to come ahead and help me do what I need to do. Nobody else is going to come ahead and help me go where I need to go. Nobody else is going to come help me do anything. Nobody else is going to do anything for you. You have to be the one that constantly shows up. You have to be the one that constantly is there. You have to be the one that's constantly doing what you have to do, irregardless of what it's going to take, irregardless of what is going to happen. Listen, I know it's going to sound like a little bit of a motivation spiel, but someone has to tell you that your job is to show up, irregardless of what people have to say about you. It could be in this position. I know it kind of sounded like I'm the one that was like, hey, saying something, which kind of paints me as a bad guy. But then again, I'm generally not. But in reality, is it's just based off the fact it's perception. Because because it's not about what happens to you, it's how you interpret it, right? It's how you interpret it. If somebody tells you you're ugly, and deep down you accept it and you get pissed off about it, is because you actually believe deep down that you are. If somebody tells you that you're not going to amount to anything and you actually get offended by it, is because deep down you actually believe that you're not going to amount to anything. So regardless of what other people have to say about you, because people are going to say what they want to say, that's why they call people are going to say what they want to say. They're going to do what they want to do. But regardless of whatever happens, you for the most part have to keep in the back of your head, you have to keep in mind that, listen, it's my life, it's my choices. At the end of it all, I'm going to reap the consequences of it or reap the rewards of it. And at the end of the day, you got to think about it. Most people are going to doubt you now and think you kind of you amount to something 5, 10 years down the road. They'll be like, oh my God, I went to school with him. Oh my God, I so knew it. Listen, in my life, there's so many people that told me I was, not gonna do anything. Now they're like, oh Emmanuel, I so knew it, I absolutely knew it. Listen, it is so great that you did. Listen, I knew God gave you the gift. And they're gonna say that stuff. They're gonna change the tune. Right. But remember, this is your mountain to climb, and you have to climb the mountain, and you have to keep climbing the mountain. You have to keep doing whatever it is that you have to do, regardless of whatever people have to say about you. And listen, guys, that's pretty much what I have for everyone here. So this we're not live right now, but pretty much just go ahead and leave your comments. Let me know what you guys pretty much what let me know, pretty much what you guys learned from this. And obviously, if you want to comment below, reach out to me, Emmanuel@results.com, and we pretty much have a conversation there, guys. And everyone